your dreams trying to tell you something? Author M.B. Mosley teaches you how to decode your dreams and take hold of the manifestations that lay in wait for you in the waking realm. Now, broadcasting all over the world, it's the Dream Interpretation Podcast.
Welcome, family. Please be reminded that all dreams are not a one-size-fits-all, and that each dream may be similar, but is contingent upon each individual's waking life. I conduct dream interpretations based upon my waking life as it pertains to my journey here on earth. As for the requests that are emailed to me, I do a general interpretation as I do not know the individual's spiritual and personal waking life. I am so excited. Welcome to Zip Baby Zip. Zip Baby Zip. That's DZIP, the Dream Zone Interpretation Podcast. Share this podcast with your loved ones, guys. I'm so excited to continually teach you all on how to do dream interpretations. I want to hear about it. You can email me at askmemory2019@gmail.com. And we are also dropping new episodes every other Wednesdays as we activate into this podcast. And the further out we go in the podcast, we're hoping to drop more episodes, and we're hoping to hear from your requests as well. I'm excited for that. So let's get right into it, folks. Drum roll, please. Grab your pens and paper, and 3, 2, 1.
Zip, baby, zip. Zip, baby, zip. That is hashtag DZIP, the Dream Zone Interpretation Podcast. You all, I have missed you all so very much, and my humble apologies for the MIA section there. Sister was missing in action. You all, I am truly humbled and very thankful to those that continue to download the podcast. You all just don't know what it does to my soul. It is weird enough as well. It's a motivating factor, right? And I'm going to say I operate this way, but that's because I haven't had discussions with other people that operate as weirdly as I do. I guess it would be considered weirdly. I don't know, but that's what I consider myself sometimes, just weird. I'm just a weirdo, but I love my weirdness. So I found this comment in writing. Or maybe it's a cop-out. I don't know. Maybe my therapist could tell me something more. But I operate in my spiritual emotions. And I understand. And it's not one of those like, we get it. I don't feel like doing something, but some things need to be done. That's not it. Like, I literally have to be connected mind, body, and soul to bring you my whole, because I feel like if I come here and my energy is off and I'm not really focused or centered, then it feels like I'm doing everyone a disservice, and I don't want to be hypocritical to the factor, because this is not a job for me. This is something that I'm passionate about, and this is all things spiritually related, meaning that I'm harnessing the energy itself, right from the core. My spiritual being, my spirit man is leading the way, and so I always want to come here with a renewed and refreshed aura. But other than that, I've been laying low, doing what introverts like to do. They're opening up stuff. How are you all doing, by the way? BTW, how are you? Yeah, they're opening up stuff, or they have opened up stuff in a lot of places. Shout out to everyone globally. And so, yeah, masks are coming off. If you've had vaccinations. So, I mean, the world is opening up a little bit more, right? So how is it going? How is it going? Yes. So on today's Dream Zone interpretation, we are going to do an interpretation of nakedness, nudity, right? And dreaming that you are naked. And understand, today we're going to do an interpretation of dreaming oneself as being naked. So we're not dreaming of other people in the dreams being naked, or a specific person you saw in the dream being naked. I'm specifically targeting today's dream on the dreamer themselves being naked. Now, understand that the powerful part about this is once you get symbolisms and understanding of the dream itself, you are able to pair up the symbolisms, possible meanings to the dream of, if you did a dream of someone else being naked in your dream, and or someone else you know or someone else you don't know, or if it's a group of people. So you're able to plug the symbolisms and or meanings here to that dream as well. Now, let's start off this a little bit differently, right? For all my Carl Jung fans out there, so dreams, as it pertains to dreams, Jung saw dreams as the psyche's attempt to communicate important things to the individual, and he valued them highly, perhaps above all else, as a way of knowing what was really going on. Dreams are also an important part of the development of the personality, a process that he called individuation. And this is, yes, an interesting, I like to always get different thoughts as it pertains what other people view the dreaming state, the dream, spiritual dream realm as, and so forth. All right. And so just wanted to highlight that. And before we get started, I'm going to play a recorded. I went from writing down my dreams to just recording my dreams as they come. And alrighty. So like I said, that was Jung's interpretation there of the dream realm and or dreaming and being in the dream state. Once again, culturally, I know I like to plug that in again because culturally, in my culture, they just have always believed that through dreams the ancestors communicate with us, and through dreams we're also able to get messages, warnings, and or insight to our future at most times. All right. So here goes the dream here. Let's play that and then we'll just dive right into it. Guys, I missed you so much. Thank you all. Like, I'm so in awe. You guys just don't understand. Okay, let's play.
December 14th, took a nap, and my dream started with me walking towards a building, going towards an elevator, fancy looking building. I had a meeting with the president's advisor, and I was more so like strutting, and I was naked. And I remember getting on the elevator, and it wasn't like I realized I was naked and I was like, oh my gosh, it's just that I was naked and I was just like, my chin was up and I was just like so confident. And then in the elevator, when it went up, I reached the floor, it opened up, and from a distance, it was Obama. He was wearing a shirt with a blue shirt, khaki pants, blue shirt, rolled up arm sleeves, and he was waving at me, and I waved, and then all of a sudden I quickly closed the elevator door, and then the elevator was going down, and then when I looked down, it was a yellow dress, but then it was like I had it like my top part down and the waist part was holding on. And then when I was leaving the building, I was trying to like power walk, and then one of my friends from kickball was hollering from the balcony on the top, and I heard her voice, and I kind of looked over, and I started to like really walk faster, trying to get away from her, and then she was running, trying to catch up to me, and she had like a little boy with her, and I forgot the conversation we had, but the dress was yellow, but I was still like topless, but it was just all bizarre.
Alrighty, so you heard it here first, and that was the dream in which I dreamt that I was initially naked, and then I saw myself partially naked in that dream. And let's make sure. And that was on December the 14th, 2020. Put that ringer down so nobody interrupts us. Alrighty, so let's dive into it, family. So if you are interested in doing your own dream interpretation, you need a little map or a sheet, I do have the template located at www.memory, MEMORY, Bengesa, that is BEN as in Nancy, GES as in Sam, .org. And if you go to the blog section, you will find this template. You can simply copy it straight from there and paste it into your own Word document and so forth, or a typable software. All right. And or if you're just jotting it down, at least you can have a reference from there. So I'm using the dream interpretation sheet / map. I did this because, class is in session and you all are still, not still, some of you might be pros by now. I do take that back. But you all are learning how to, I'm trying to avoid the word dissect. You're learning how to do the dream interpretation here as it pertains to your own dreams and perhaps for your families and your children's and so forth. All right, let's dive right into it. Being naked. My whole entire life, I had never had a naked dream. But there it was, right? There it was. All right. Like people, you can have repetitive dreams, but I was going to say like people really dream they naked one time and continue, but you can have repetitive dreams. All right, let's continue. Let's carry on. So when we look at the dream interpretation sheet, we are going to see the first question we're going to ask, what did you dream about? Being naked. That's what we're talking about. And what is being naked is being nude, right? In Zara. So anyway, so representation on the sheet there, you will see the next question is representation. Now, quickly, I put I put a slash there and then I put symbolism, okay? And so some of the symbolism / representation here, nudity can represent freedom. Excuse me. So nudity can represent freedom. It can represent honesty. It can represent rawness. You're naked. You're in the nude. Vulnerability, and or depending on where you are in life, it can represent shame, guilt, exposure, and or insecurities. And sometimes you may also want to think about that when we look at a spiritual aspect deeper. Let's dig a little 1 second, one toe, dig your big toe into the water, go deeper. All right. So if you look at babies are born in the nude. If you want a strong spiritual symbolism there, so you can even hearken to a rebirth, an awakening, and all that good jazz. Okay. And once again, this is already on the intro disclaimer. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. I am the disclaimer queen. You will get a lot of disclaimers as we go along. But as we grow in this learning of dream interpretation, just always remember to get an effective interpretation of the messages from the dream realm, you want to have an awareness / consciousness. Same thing. To be aware is to be conscious. To be conscious is to be aware of yourself, your true self, your true self. Some of us are on the journey to the true self, right? So, but it's just, what does that really mean? It just means being honest with yourself, right? Being honest with where you are, because you're the only person that knows where you are, boo. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's continue. And the reason why I say that, because as you look at nudity symbolism, it's a big spectrum, right? It's a big spectrum. Now listen, if you know, okay, this is the no judging zone, the most safest place you could ever be. So this is not judgy muchy, but this is an example. So let's say, let's see, what can we say that's just kind of light, but to make the example. So let's say, for instance, okay, I know none of you all are like this, but let's just put this example out here. For instance, you have an accountant at a firm and they embezzle $100,000 from their employer, right? So you go to sleep, you dream of nudity and all this other stuff. Now, you're not going to look at the symbolisms that I've just given you and say, oh, I'm looking at freedom because I got $100,000 that I embezzled that wasn't mine. All right. Well, you're not looking at rawness, or you're not looking at the positive attributes, we could say per se, on the symbolism. That means the next parts of it here, we said, depending on where you are in life, it can also represent shame. Right? It can also represent guilt. It can represent exposure. And be careful with the word exposure as it pertains to nude dreams, naked dreams, because exposure never necessarily means, wrong English, but exposure doesn't necessarily mean that it's a negative exposure. It could be a positive exposure, right? And or insecurities. So just remember that I will always hammer down that you need an honest evaluation with yourself as you dissect this. Just like our accountant friend who would have embezzled $100,000 from their employer. They have that type of dream at night. I'm pretty sure that you're being there's some guilt there, and or perhaps maybe exposure is coming to where the employer might expose your hand there. However, let's carry on. And then let's look at a positive, Ryan. We can just leave it right there. We cannot just leave it hanging there. So let's look at a positive example. So let's say you are a high school student. Look, I'm just thinking real quick. Okay, well, let's say you are on the job market, and you have been filling out resumes and so forth, but in your mind, or you've penciled it down, scripted it in your manifestation book that this year you will accept employment that starts you at a 6-figure income, and I want to work in the city, and da. And so that night you have a message from your dream realm, right? Oh, and then it may be perhaps where you are right now. Let's say you're living at home with your parents and it's kind of crowded, and or maybe with friends, but your situation is it's just like I can't wait, So you can have a dream like that at night that can also represent for you like freedom, right? You're about to be free on your own, and or plus your manifestations are coming into fruition. But so you gotta understand that each little symbolism part really has to be taken from the aspect of where you are truly in your waking state. And if you sometimes are not sure where you are in your waking state, ask Spirit to help you. These are just suggestions during meditation. When you calm the mind, ease the mind, and have a conversation with Spirit. Usually Spirit will have a conversation with you, but when you calm the mind, ease the mind, and connect, you may get the answers that you need there as well. All right, so let's go on down with the sheet here, our dream interpretation sheet. What type of energy are you feeling the instant you wake up? So in this dream, I felt neutral. / intrigued, right? Like, okay, what is going on? I was out here walking bucket naked. All right. So, and the next question is, what type of energy are you feeling in the dream? I was feeling confident. I was feeling myself. Like, I remember walking down, I was crossing the street. I don't even know if I was wearing heels or not, but I mean, if modeling was a thing, if switching was a thing, that was me crossing that street bucket naked. And also in this dream, it's like I was viewing it from a third point of view, experiencing it as the person that's watching myself in the dream, that is. All right. So what are your cultural and spiritual beliefs behind the dream? Because remember that these dreams are sensitive as well to one's cultural and or spiritual belief. So for example, knowing that my background, my culture is African, specifically Zimbabwean, if you told somebody that you dreamt that you were naked, honey, and you were strutting, they're going to call you a witch, right? They're going to be like, she is with that night walking witch ally. You see what I'm saying? And so, depending as well what's all involved in this naked dream, it can also represent an ancestral connection, because remember, the babies being born in the nude has something to do with the awakening of one's soul and so forth, and we could go deeper and deeper on that. So that's why I always encourage you to also dig deep into your spiritual and or cultural belief. Alrighty, let's keep going. So, and the next question is, list everything you see in the dream. So the main important parts in the dream for me here was Obama was in there. Don't ask me. I don't watch politics. I don't belong to anybody by myself. So he was in there. And so anytime, another case in point, symbolism. So anytime you dream of perhaps people in leadership, celebrities, and so forth. Now, depending on your waking life, right? If you are a musician trying to break into the music, and perhaps you were not watching YouTube videos on your favorite artist or whatever the case is, and this specific artist pops up in your mind, in your dream realm, then find the symbolism in that as well, in connection to your journey as a musician. In this part here, I'm non-politically affiliated. However, Obama represents a leadership role. He was the president of the United States of America. So we could put leadership right there, because to me, that's what I see him as, right? And so I don't know what he was doing in my dreams, but okay, whatever. And so let's continue. And so now I remember when I was walking back, I believe, as I said in the recording, that it was like a dress. It was like a silky, shiny yellow. Weird part, this is when I'm partially naked now, where the dress is just kind of like from the waist down, and all right, let's continue. All right. And then now we have the elevator. Okay, what do elevators do? Elevators take us up, they take us down, they carry us, they lift us. Okay, there we go there. Now, we're in a building. What is a building in relation to the dream realm? So buildings can be firm, strong, stability, right? Okay, so now I remember seeing that old friend I was trying to run away from. And so that can equate, old is past. That can equate perhaps past acquaintances, old acquaintances, perhaps may not be coming into this next part of my phase, or whatever it is that I'm anticipating on getting here, that spirit has seen in the future. Okay. So remember, then we put naked itself. Remember, naked, we have dissected that. I'm trying to stop using that word. Sorry. But we have broken that word symbolism down. Remember, nudity, because this is nudity. So let's give it another shot here. Nudity, which is, or nakedness in a dream, which can represent freedom, honesty, rawness, vulnerability, and or depending on where you are in life, it can represent shame, guilt, exposure, and or insecurities. And remember to think of babies that are born in the nude as an awakening process, a reawakening of a soul, and so forth, if you're starting a spiritual journey and all this amazing stuff. All right, now let's continue to go. And I do apologize for all my old listeners, and this is for my new listeners. If you hear me, I may repeat myself here and there, just so that if we have anybody that's new that hasn't followed us from the start, just remember that the dream realm is based solely, specifically, most times on symbolisms. So that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to one day walk down the street naked and then come back out with a dress and or see Obama and all this other stuff. The communication from the dream realm is always symbolism based, and that's why we're learning how to do, or I'm teaching and y'all learning how to do the interpretation. Now, if you go back to my other podcast, if you're new to this channel, I break down visions, premonitions, and all that other stuff as it pertains to our waking life and as it pertains to life, because there are all kinds of amazing abilities that we as human beings have out here once we tap into them. All right. Okay, where are you let's go to the next question. Where are you in the dream, and or what are you doing? So in that dream, as we heard at the top of the podcast there, I was walking towards a tall building, and we've talked about what tall buildings, we didn't talk about it tall, but we talked about what buildings represent. So tall, the taller the building, the bigger, the greater, just think grand, right? And let me see here. We've talked about what a building can represent as a symbol there. Remember, we did say building can represent stability. Sometimes each room can symbolize an area of one's life or a phase in one state. And remember, tall buildings can equate to bigger and greater things in one's life. All right. So now, gingerly we say, if the building is condemned, all right, and just a hot mess, then obviously that's not going to necessarily represent stability and or greater and bigger, right? So we now have to kind of probe and go into that dream and see what you were doing in an abandoned building, how deteriorated it looked, and so forth, right? And then we could work it from there as well. All right, so now let's even go dig deeper into the colors. What colors and or numbers do you see in the dream, if any? All right, so what stuck out was the yellow dress. How does the color meaning fit in with the waking life? So waking life association with yellow can be happiness and being optimistic. Alrighty, let me see here. All right, so I'm going to give you, let's do a fun fact while we're at the color part here. This is according to colorology.com. That's the word color, C-O-L. That's the Western or U.S. word color, C-O-L-O-R, and then OLOGY.com. All right, so fun fact, this is from their complete guide here of colors and symbolisms. And I like to also peek real quick at the chakra colors. And so the yellow is one of the third chakras, which is the solar plexus. And it constitutes the element of fire, identity, and ego. Yellow will instill optimism, enthusiasm, joy, wisdom, and intellect. So I like to take a peek over there and just look at the chakra color meanings, if they are the ones that have also popped up in the dream. All right, so now let's dial it back in. We have put everything apart. Now we're going to put it together. If you have dreamt that you yourself were indeed naked in the dream, just depending on your waking state or on your waking life, then you would be able to specifically dial in as well individually on what you think the message is from the spiritual dream realm. However, I have included a general interpretation of nudity in the dream realm. All right, so depending where you are in your waking life, just like I said, there may be symbolisms to either guilt, shame, exposure, due to either guilt, shame, or exposure of true self. And remember, exposure can also be exposure to you are an aspiring artist and you've been, working out here, and maybe the exposure is about to come for people to find out who you are. So remember that part as well. And perhaps this may even mean a representation of freedom. All right, so freedom is a big spectrum as well, and perhaps your vulnerability is being awakened. So remember, when you explore the interpretation of your dream meaning, you want to specifically do it according to your waking life, as you want to do it specifically according to your waking life and how this message is helping you for your future right now and or in the next couple of weeks. Like I've always said, for those that are new tuning in, manifestations can happen a week from now, tomorrow, 5 years, and so forth. But you're the only person that holds the key to your waking life to know exactly where. Well, I dreamt I was in the nude. Maybe that big job is coming up. I feel a freedom in my soul. And or perhaps the vulnerability is you've been having therapy sessions, working on your healing, and now you're feeling more vulnerable. You're feeling good about yourself and so forth. All righty. Let's go for the possible message in the interpretation. I gave you a general message, and so now let's go for, and now remember, if the general message, if you dream that someone else you know or someone you don't know or a group of people, then you can put in your waking life, according to your waking life, where any one of these fit in and what it means, what these people could mean. I do have a podcast that talks about different places, different faces. So you can also take the breakdown from that on how and why you would see people you've never seen or dream of places you've never been before. All right. So now possible message. Now we have done all that stuff according to the recorded dream that I have there. And here's a possible message. All right. So I have been feeling at that time, this is December 14, 2020. I have been feeling optimistic. It may seem the greater things are in works that are yet to be exposed based on the dream here. I do feel more and more stable within my healing journey, and the more and more I embark on this journey, the more and more vulnerable I feel. Perhaps where I'm going, I will lose some old friends. Remember, the old friends were in there, and perhaps it doesn't necessarily mean specifically an old friend or peer and associate, but it just may have something to do with my past as well. Perhaps those past wounds will also be healed, right? And so perhaps there is someone in a leadership role that will help usher me or guide me, or maybe with leadership qualities. Doesn't have to necessarily mean their title is a leader, and I could tell you that this was before I started working with my therapist. I started with my therapist, I think January, February, maybe March. It was a couple of months into the new year, 2021. So it could be, a therapist who contains himself in such a great way, who have leadership abilities to help me. She's helping me and to help me usher into the next phase of my life throughout this healing journey. However, so we're going to put their elevators. Remember, elevators carry us places, lift us up, lift us down. So depending on where you're in your waking life, I'm seeing here that perhaps there is someone in a leadership role, or maybe leadership qualities that can help usher. All right. So perhaps help carry, or perhaps lift me to the place of maybe solace and or healing. Healing is a journey, right? So I know that it's never going to be the end, but we're going to continue to strive because it's all in phases. I'm thinking by the time you master it, shoot, maybe that's the time to go. Like, I'm just teasing. I'm teasing. All right. So let's go. All right. So, and let me see here. So we talked about elevator me through the phase and or the way will be divinely led. Okay, so there you go. So leadership can also mean either role, skills, qualities, whatever. Skills, qualities, kind of same thing there. But and or divinely led by source, right? All right, so that was the dream interpretation of nudity. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Dream Zone Interpretation Podcast. Continue to download the podcast. I appreciate you all so very much. And I'm so glad to be back on the airwaves. To all the global listeners, thank you, thank you, thank you.
For God speaks in one way and or in two. Though man does not perceive it, he speaks in a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls on men while they slumber on their beds. Happy dreaming.